This is the moment you stop breaking under pressure. This is the moment you learn how champions think, act, and respond. Mental toughness is not talent, not luck, not genetics. It is a skill you build brick by brick until nothing can shake you. In the next hour, you will learn how to dominate your emotions, silence your self-doubt, and become mentally untouchable. You're not here to feel inspired, you're here to transform. And that transformation starts right now. You cannot build mental toughness if you cannot control your inner world. Read that again. Let it sink in. Everything starts inside you. Everything starts with the voice you listen to, the emotion you feed, the reaction you choose. And yes, you choose it. You always have a choice. Most people don't want to hear that, because blaming is easier. Reacting is easier. Exploding is easier. But you're not here to stay the same. You're here to become the kind of person who dominates pressure instead of folding under it. So we start with the foundation. The first pillar of toughness, emotion mastery. If you don't master your emotions will master you. That's the truth. That's the key. Every time you overreact, you hand your power away. Every time you panic, you shrink your world. Every time you let anger, fear, jealousy, or insecurity take the wheel, you go off the road. You have a choice. You always have a choice. Control first, act second. That's your rule now. Say it with me. Control first, act second. Champions train this. Average people ignore it. You're not average, or you wouldn't be listening. Let me give you a real story. There was an athlete, a world-class competitor, who won a national title not because he was the strongest, not because he was the fastest, but because he stayed calm when everyone else broke. In the final round, the entire arena was loud, chaotic, full of pressure. One mistake would cost him everything. His opponent rushed in, emotional, frantic, trying to overwhelm him. But the champion didn't react. He didn't panic. He didn't let the moment pull him out of himself. He slowed his breathing. He slowed his thoughts. He slowed the world down. And because he controlled the moment, he controlled the outcome. That's the key. If you control the moment, you control the outcome. You'll hear that again. You'll hear it until it sticks. Because this is the difference between the person who cracks and the person who conquers. One reacts. The other decides. Let me ask you something. How many times have you ruined your own moment by reacting too fast? By letting anger speak for you? By letting fear dictate your move? By letting pressure make decisions you didn't choose consciously? You know exactly what I'm talking about. And you know where it leads. Losing control of your inner world always leads to regret. Boys. Because once the emotion passes, you see the truth. It wasn't the situation that defeated you. It was your reaction. But that ends here. Right now, you start building the discipline of emotional control. And emotional control is not about suppressing emotion. It's about governing it. You can feel frustration without exploding. You can feel fear without running. You can feel pressure without breaking. That's emotional mastery. That's mental toughness. That's the skill champions rely on. And yes, it is a skill. Not a personality trait. Not a genetic gift. A skill. Which means you can build it. Which means you can train it. Which means you can own it. So let's train it right now. Let's walk through a scenario you face every day. Someone disrespects you. Someone pushes your buttons. Someone tries to get a reaction. Someone tests your patience. Your old mind wants to explode. Your old identity wants to defend itself. Your ego wants to respond instantly. But the new you? The tougher you? The champion you? You pause. You breathe. You think. Control first. Act second. You don't give them your power. You don't give them your emotions. You don't give them your peace. Because the more you react to the outside world, the more you become controlled by it. You don't need their permission. You don't need their validation. You don't need their approval to remain calm. This is your inner world. This is your domain. This is your battlefield. And you win by staying centered. Let's take another scenario. Life hits you with pressure. Deadlines. Fear. Uncertainty. Conflict. Most people spiral. They panic. They let the moment shrink them. But you slow the moment down. You breathe deeper. You lower your shoulders. You widen your awareness. And you say to yourself, If I control this moment, I control the outcome. That's your anchor. That phrase becomes your shield. That phrase becomes your identity. Because here's the truth no one teaches you. The calmest person in the room is always the most powerful. Not the loudest. Not the strongest. Not the most aggressive. The calmest. Because calm is clarity. Calm is strength. Calm is control. You can think. You can choose. You can respond with purpose instead of reaction. And that is the ultimate advantage. Let's go deeper. Because emotional control is not only for moments of conflict, it's also for moments of self-doubt. When your mind starts telling you, you can't do this. You're not good enough. You always fail. You have a choice. You can believe the lie. Or you can take control. You can say, this is not who I am anymore. This is not the voice I follow. This is not the story I live. Because emotional control also means narrative control. Protecting your inner dialogue. Rejecting mental noise. Directing your thoughts like a leader, not a victim. And yes, that requires discipline. It's not about talent. It's about discipline. Tell yourself that as many times as you need. It's not about talent. It's about discipline. Discipline in your breathing. Discipline in your thinking. Discipline in your reactions. That's how you build toughness, micro-moment by micro-moment. Not all at once. Not in one dramatic transformation. But through repetition. Through training. Through choosing control again and again until it becomes automatic. This is why champions visualize under pressure. This is why soldiers train under stress. This is why performers rehearse worst-case scenarios. They're building control. They're building composure. They're building inner dominance. You can do the same. And you will do the same. Because from this moment on, your rule is simple. If you control the moment, you control the outcome. Repeat it again. Repeat it until it becomes a part of you. Your reactions are now a choice. Your emotions are now a tool. Your inner world is now your responsibility. And this responsibility is what makes you powerful. This responsibility is what makes you dangerous. This responsibility is what makes you disciplined. You are no longer the person who gets pulled by external chaos. You are the person who creates internal stability. And from stability comes strength. From strength comes clarity. From clarity comes victory. You just mastered the first pillar of toughness, emotional control. Now it's time for the next evolution. Now we go deeper. Now we build the habit that transforms your identity. You controlled your inner world. Now let's talk about the actions that make you unstoppable. Chapter 2. Do the hard thing first. Mental toughness is built in the moments you least want to face. Not when it's easy. Not when it's comfortable. Not when you feel motivated. Mental toughness is built when you choose the hard thing while your mind begs you to choose the easy one. And yes, it is a choice. You have a choice. You always have a choice. Most people don't choose the hard thing. They procrastinate. They wait. They avoid. They negotiate with their weakness instead of confronting it. And that's why most people never break through their limits. That's why most people stay stuck. That's why most people never become the person they were meant to be. But you're not most people. You're here to build a mind that does what needs to be done, not what feels good in the moment. This chapter is simple, brutal, powerful. Do the hard thing first, not second, not later, not when you feel ready. First, because here's the truth. Your brain gets stronger every time you choose the harder path intentionally. Every time you lean into discomfort, you expand your limits. Every time you choose challenge over comfort, you condition your identity. This is how champions are made. This is how leaders are formed. This is how mental toughness is created through deliberate discomfort. Let me give you an example. Something simple. Something you've heard 1,000 times. Cold showers. People debate them. People joke about them. People act like there's some internet trend. But here's the reality. Cold showers work because they force your mind to obey you. You don't want to step in. Your brain screams, no. Your body hates the idea. But when you do it anyway, you deliver one message to yourself. I do the hard thing first. That's the key. You face discomfort head-on. You stop negotiating. You stop hesitating. You stop living at the mercy of your feelings. Cold showers are not about water temperature. They're about discipline. They're about identity. They're about mental dominance. It's not about comfort, it's about discipline. That's the shift. That's the transformation. That's the mindset that separates the elite from everyone else. But cold showers are just one example. Let's talk about early workouts. No one wants to wake up early and push their body. Not at first. Not consistently. Not when the bed is warm and your excuses feel justified. But early workouts are symbolic. They are a declaration. They are proof. Proof that you run your day, not the other way around. When you wake up early and train before the world wakes up, you are telling yourself, I set the standard. I lead. I won't wait to be pushed. You become the kind of person who takes action before emotion gets a vote. And that's who wins. That's who rises. That's who becomes untouchable. Hard first. Easy later. You'll hear that phrase over and over, because it will reshape the way you live. Let's go deeper. Let's talk about the hardest things of all, difficult conversations. Most people avoid them. Most people bury issues. Most people let resentment grow quietly because confrontation makes them uncomfortable. But mentally tough people? They face the conversation immediately. They clear the air. They speak the truth. They refuse to let fear dictate the outcome. Because delaying a hard conversation only multiplies the pain. Addressing it early? That's strength. That's leadership. That's maturity. It's not about avoiding discomfort. It's about choosing it because you know it leads to growth. You don't need their permission. You don't need their approval. You don't need to feel ready to say what needs to be said. You need courage. You need clarity. You need discipline. That's the key. Hard first. Easy later. Let me ask you something. How many problems in your life exist only because you didn't face them when they were small? How many habits became chains because you kept saying, I'll start tomorrow? How many opportunities did you lose because you waited for comfort? You know the answer. You know the cost of avoidance. You know avoidance always makes the problem worse. Boys, that's why this chapter matters. It changes your operating system. It rewires your decision-making. From now on, when something is uncomfortable, when something is heavy, when something is scary, you go first. You face it now. You do the hard thing first. Because once you flip that switch, everything changes. Your confidence rises. Your identity strengthens. Your tolerance grows. Your resilience multiplies. You start becoming the person who finishes things. You start becoming the person who leads. You start becoming the person who no longer hides behind excuses. You have a choice. Right now. Every day. In every moment. Take the stairs or the elevator. Cook a clean meal or grab junk food. Finish the task or delay it again. Train or skip. Speak the truth or stay silent. Take action or stay stuck. Every choice shapes your toughness. Every choice shapes your future. Every choice shapes your identity. And if you choose the easy path repeatedly, you weaken your mind. You weaken your trust in yourself. You weaken your ability to handle pressure. But if you choose the hard path, if you choose the challenge, if you choose the discomfort, you become unstoppable. You become resilient. You become someone who doesn't fear difficulty, you pursue it. That's the mentality of champions. That's the mindset of elite performers. They do the hard thing first. Not because it's comfortable. Not because they enjoy it. But because it builds them. Because it sharpens them. Because it sets them apart. Average minds seek comfort. Tough minds seek challenge. That's the contrast. That's the truth. And here's the best part. Once you conquer the hard thing first, the rest of the day becomes easier. The momentum works in your favor. You start stacking wins. You feel powerful because you are powerful. You showed yourself what you're capable of. And capability creates confidence. Remember this. Discomfort avoided becomes weakness. Discomfort chosen becomes strength. It's not about perfection. It's about discipline. It's about who you choose to be. Every morning, every decision, every action. You want mental toughness? Earn it. You want resilience? Build it. You want confidence? Prove it to yourself. By doing the hard thing first. Right now, your mind is learning a new rule, a new identity, a new standard. This chapter is your turning point. Tomorrow morning, you face the hard thing first. Not later. Not when you feel ready. Not when motivation magically appears. First. Always first. Because that is how champions think. That is how champions act. That is how champions win. And now that you've learned the discipline of attacking discomfort, it's time to go deeper into what discomfort truly creates inside you. You chose the hard path today. Now let's talk about the pain that shapes you. Chapter 3. Pain is the pathway, not the problem. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your compass. Pain is your signal that growth is happening. You've been taught all your life to run from pain. Avoid pain. Numb pain. Fear pain. But mentally tough people flip that script. They don't run from pain, they study it. They learn from it. They grow through it. Because pain is information, pain is instruction, pain is growth. Say it again. Say it until your mind accepts it. Pain is information. Pain is instruction. Pain is growth. Most people never change because they see pain as a threat. They believe discomfort means something is wrong. They believe struggle means they're failing. They believe difficulty means they should stop. But you're here to become someone different. Someone stronger. Someone unbreakable. And to become unbreakable, you must understand this truth. Pain is the pathway, not the problem. That's the key. Think about the strongest people you know. Athletes, soldiers, leaders, survivors. Not one of them became who they are without pain. Not one of them avoided discomfort. Not one of them reached excellence by staying comfortable. Every comeback story you love, every champion you admire, every hero you look up to, they all walked through seasons of pain. They all endured what most people avoid. They all leaned into discomfort instead of running from it. Pain was their turning point. Pain was their teacher. Pain was their rebirth. Let me give you a story. There was an athlete, a champion wrestler, who tore multiple ligaments in his knee a month before a national competition. Doctors told him he wouldn't compete. Friends told him to withdraw. Fans whispered that it was over. But he refused to listen. He refused to accept defeat. He refused to let pain define him. So he trained differently. He rebuilt his strength through controlled pain. Every step hurt. Every rep hurt. Every night he slept with ice packs and alarms set for stretching. He used pain as feedback. He used pain as instruction. He used pain as fuel. And 1 month later, he walked back into the arena. Not healed. Not comfortable. Not pain-free. But prepared. Mentally sharper than ever. Mentally stronger than ever. He didn't win because he avoided pain. He won because he accepted it. He won because he understood it. He won because he walked through it. Pain is the pathway, not the problem. That's the key. That's the lesson. But let's go deeper. Because physical examples are powerful, but emotional pain builds you too. Maybe even more. Think about soldiers. They endure exhaustion. They endure separation. They endure uncertainty. They endure fear you can't even imagine. But what does the training do? It breaks them down and then rebuilds them stronger. It strips away who they were and replaces it with who they must become. Because controlled suffering builds identity. Controlled suffering creates resilience. Controlled suffering designs a new version of you. This is what I call productive suffering. Not pointless pain. Not accidental struggle. Not misery. Productive suffering. Chosen challenge. Intentional discomfort. You choose the pressure. You choose the fight. You choose the weight. Because you know, deep down, that without pressure, you cannot grow. Every breakthrough in your life will be preceded by pain most people avoid. Every transformation will require discomfort most people run from. Every level up will demand suffering most people refuse to experience. But you have a choice. You always have a choice. You can keep avoiding discomfort, or you can become someone who can handle anything. And here's the truth. It's not about perfection. It's about discipline. It's not about being fearless. It's about stepping forward with fear. It's not about comfort. It's about discipline. Remember that. It's not about comfort. It's about discipline. That's the key. So let's make this practical. Let's talk about what you must do. When you feel emotional pain, rejection, failure, embarrassment, don't collapse inward. Don't numb it. Don't avoid it. Sit with it. Study it. Ask, what is this teaching me? Because pain is information. Pain is instruction. When you feel physical discomfort, fatigue, tension, exertion, don't stop immediately. Don't retreat. Don't tell yourself you're weak. Ask, how much can I handle? How much can I grow? Because pain is growth. And when you face life pain, loss, uncertainty, transitions, don't let it destroy you. Don't let it define you. Don't let it paralyze you. Let it refine you. Let it shape you. Let it strengthen you. Because pain is the pathway, not the problem. You need the shift, this mental reframe, this new identity. You're not someone who breaks easily anymore. You're not someone who quits early. You're not someone who fears discomfort. You are someone who learns through suffering. You are someone who grows through difficulty. You are someone who becomes stronger through challenge. You don't need their permission. You don't need approval. You don't need comfort to keep going. You need discipline. You need courage. You need conviction. Because pain doesn't last. But the strength it gives you does. The people who succeed are not the ones who avoid pain. They are the ones who understand it. They are the ones who walk toward it. They are the ones who use it as a tool. So the next time pain shows up, physical, emotional, mental, don't flinch. Don't freeze. Don't flee. Just breathe. Listen. Pain is information. Pain is instruction. Pain is growth. Repeat it. Again. And again. And again. Because when you shift your relationship with pain, you shift your entire life. You become someone with depth, with resilience, with grit, someone who can endure, someone who can rise, someone who can win regardless of circumstances. This is the new you, forged by discomfort, shaped by discipline, trained by pain. And now that you understand the role pain plays in your transformation, it's time to talk about something just as powerful, the force that protects your strength, guards your clarity, and builds your self-respect. You embraced pain as your teacher. Now let's master the skill that protects your energy. Chapter 4. Guard your focus like your life depends on it. Discipline is your greatest advantage. Not talent, not luck, not motivation. Discipline. The quiet force that keeps you moving when everything else in you wants to stop. The one edge no one can take from you. The one skill that separates the people who almost change their lives from the people who actually do. And here's the truth you've avoided for too long. Motivation fades. Discipline remains. Say it again. Motivation fades. Discipline remains. That's the key. Anyone can act when they feel inspired. Anyone can move when life feels light and easy. But champions don't build their lives around emotions. Champions build their lives around systems. Standards. Non-negotiables. Commitments that don't care how they feel. Listen carefully, you have a choice. Every day, you're choosing between the temporary comfort of feelings and the permanent power of discipline. One choice weakens you. The other builds you. One choice takes you nowhere. The other makes you unstoppable. Let's break it down. The reason discipline wins. Discipline outperforms motivation because discipline is predictable. Motivation is a gamble. Motivation comes and goes. Motivation is emotional weather, sunny today, storming tomorrow. But discipline is the foundation beneath the weather. It doesn't move. It doesn't shift. It doesn't negotiate. That's why disciplined people win. Because disciplined people keep going long after motivated people quit. You see this in every champion. The world thinks they're talented. The world thinks they're blessed. The world thinks they're lucky. But the truth is simpler. They show up. On good days, they show up. On bad days, they show up. When they're tired, they show up. When they're stressed, they show up. When nobody's watching, they show up. That's the power you've been avoiding. That's the discipline you must build. Your feelings are not your leader. Let's address the lie that's been controlling your life. I'll do it when I feel ready. You won't. Because you never feel ready for the things that matter. You never feel ready for growth. You never feel ready for change. You never feel ready to do the hard thing first. And that's why you must stop waiting for permission from your feelings. You don't need their permission. It's not about mood. It's about discipline. Feelings are inconsistent. Feelings lie. Feelings exaggerate. Feelings choose comfort every time. Discipline chooses progress. Discipline says, we do this because we said we would. End of story. And that's the mindset that transforms you from reactive to unstoppable. You want to know why your results fluctuate? Because your behavior fluctuates. And your behavior fluctuates because it follows your emotions instead of your commitments. So here is the shift. Stop following your feelings. Start following your standards. That's the key. The power of micro-routines. People think discipline is about massive, complicated routines. It's not. It's about micro-routines, small, simple, repeatable actions that require zero debate. Wake up at the same time. Drink water the moment you stand up. Stretch for 2 minutes. Make your bed. Write your top 3 tasks. Start the hardest one immediately. These small actions shape your identity. These small actions say, I'm a disciplined person. I don't negotiate with excuses. I don't negotiate with weakness. And here's the truth. Identity drives behavior. When you see yourself as someone disciplined, you act like someone disciplined. When you see yourself as someone who quits, you act like someone who quits. Every micro-routine is a vote for the person you want to become. Every small action is a brick in the foundation of mental toughness. This is how discipline grows. Not through intensity, through consistency. Remember, motivation creates intensity. Discipline creates consistency. And consistency creates results. Daily standards, your non-negotiables. To build discipline, you need non-negotiables. The simple rules that define your day no matter how unpredictable life becomes. A daily workout. A daily reading session. A daily planning routine. A daily cleanup ritual. A daily moment of silence. These are your anchors. These are the behaviors that protect your identity when everything else around you feels chaotic. And here's the part most people miss. Your non-negotiables must be simple enough to do every day, but meaningful enough to change your life. That's the sweet spot. That's the point where discipline becomes automatic. That's where you stop asking, do I feel like this? And start saying, this is just what I do. You have a choice every day. Let your emotions call the shots. Or let your standards run the day. Choose discipline. Why discipline makes you undefeatable? Discipline is your unstoppable advantage because it removes the biggest threat in your life: inconsistency. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they stop. They fail because they're inconsistent. They fail because they take breaks from greatness every time they feel uncomfortable. But disciplined people? They don't take breaks from the habits that build them. They don't take breaks from the behaviors that strengthen them. They don't take breaks from their mission. That's why they win long-term. Not because they're better, but because they're consistent. And here's the truth. You are not defeated by difficulty. You are defeated by inconsistency. It's not about talent. It's about discipline. That's the key. The contrast: disciplined minds versus emotional drifters. There are 2 types of people in this world. Emotional drifters, the ones who react, the ones who panic, the ones who wait for motivation. They jump from idea to idea. They start but don't finish. They dream but don't follow through. Their life changes only when they feel good. And then there are the disciplined ones, the quiet executors, the consistent grinders, the people who move whether they feel like it or not, the people who don't need applause, the people who don't need energy, the people who don't need someone to inspire them. Disciplined people live free. Emotional drifters live lost. Which one are you becoming? You have a choice. Right now. In this moment. Who are you choosing to be? Discipline is your greatest advantage. It's the force that builds you. It's the system that protects you. It's the identity that strengthens you. You now understand what discipline really is: not a feeling, but a standard. Not an emotion, but a commitment. Not a burst, but a foundation. You've learned the truth. Motivation fades. Discipline remains. And now that you understand discipline, It's time to confront the one element that decides whether you rise or fall. The greatest teacher you've been avoiding. Chapter 5. Your relationship with pain determines your strength.